Guys, I'd like to talk about how to have peace with each other, even when it comes to geopolitics. I actually consider myself being the lucky one because I like to leave notice, leave a post, leave a comment after many posts. I usually am not satisfied with just saying that I like it, because I think it doesn't. I also pay little attention to people who just like me, my post. I'd like to share my views on things, and so given my frequency of posting things, I really have been a lucky one because I have only a few backlashes, and some of probably not from this country. So but I'm still thinking about this. This is always stuck in my head, saying, how do we get along with each other? Is it possible? Is it feasible? Is that possible today or maybe in the future? I was just thinking, that my key point is that let's not hate people, okay? Because that's too categorical, too permanent. Because a human, each individual is a package. There are many different sides. They may do something wrong, but they may do something right. Okay, let's look at Israel, for example. Israel. We all know that Israel. We have some. The other day I was checking. They can do a lot of things wrong. I mean, even for Jewish people. Let's think about it. Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. Those are the two Jews, probably the worst Jews, when it comes to that, in terms of how many people, how many Americans know them, right? They're really bad names, right? But meanwhile, we also have some good Jews. For example, Jesus Christ is the best example. We also, even in the entertainment industries, we have Alicia Silverstones. We have you know what is the Natalie Porter. We have Kate Hudson. We also have the Steven Spielberg. Those are the best people in the entertainment, among the best people in the entertainment business. So also we have to think about, if you look at it back to the history, we see that the Old Testament is written by Hebrew scholars, right? It's not by accident. I really think that Jewish people can be very smart. They study hard. They pay attention to intellectual thing, and even this tradition is carried today. So that's why we cannot just say I hate Jews or I hate Israel's. Although in terms of Israel, I really think that we should focus on the behavior. Like some bad behaviors are killing civilians. And the other day, I mean, this morning I saw a post by the Italian PM demanding Israel to release the workers, Italian workers, who just did nothing. Basically, they are providing humanitarian assistance to the people. I mean, that's the worst thing, That means some Jewish Israelis, they give nothing. They don't give a damn to the commonly accepted international protocols. So that's a really bad example, bad behavior. If we have to hate those behavior. But even for the Jews, for example, the even Jewish Israeli, they may be doing a lot of scientific research even today, right? They may contribute scientifically to the world, And the same thing as China, China is not a democracy, but China has done something right. So we don't put people into category. We say we hate the entire bucket of people. We hate that entire bucket of people. That's just another way to do it. Okay. The other thing I want to see that you have to learn something from Artemis, right? The program, the NASA program. I was really impressed when the astronaut returning back to the Earth. The captain of the astronaut, he's not a particularly religious person, but after coming back, returning to the Earth, the first thing they ask is to see a pastor, to see, and then when the pastor came, and then when the guy, the captain of the astronaut saw the process, the tears coming out from his eyes. I can totally believe that. Why? Because when by the way, if you really want to see the big world, you really have to go to it's commercial jet is not enough because they only go like a few miles, and then you still when you look down you see the cloud, you see the cities, you see the rivers and the oceans, but you really have to shoot up all the way to like 100 miles and into the sky, and then you see basically what the God will see, or God will create it. That's why I said, get into the outer space. It's the best way to understand the God. Why? Because that's how God created. You know, so when the entire Earth is like a ping pong table, ping pong ball. That kind of thing. Then you'll be shocked. You see how small we are and how trivial we are. So that's my message is that sometimes you need to get out of this world, get out of this earth, and to see a bigger picture, and then you see, okay, this little conflict of fighting between us, it's really small. So let's put the difference behind it. Of course, I'm not saying that we do need to fight. Sometimes we have to. Fighting is probably the only way to change the bad guys' behavior. Make them feel, make them scared, make them guilty. That's the way, because they have, some of them that don't have the moral value. They don't care, nothing, very little from inside, but they will understand the forces, okay, and they will understand the higher power. So those kind of things. That means that we need have the fight, but meanwhile we will keep the not categorical. Don't hate a group of people. Don't hate an entire country, even though in Israel we know that 80% people are not really that they're still in the dark. They don't know what they're ignorant. They don't know because they have this sense of superiority. They think they're the chosen people. So I feel sorry for them, but don't hate them. Just like Jesus Christ will not hate ignorant people, right? You still have to deal with them. But meanwhile, we keep your mindset a little bit out of this world, thinking about the big pictures, and we can understand the thing better. So let's stop here.